And breaking tonight, the Affluenza teen headed to Houston. What will happen over the next 24 hours during his extradition? All the attention will be on Ethan Couch when he arrives in Houston tomorrow.
It's a case that was in the spotlight from the very beginning, starting with a 2013 drunk driving crash that killed 4 people. His attorney claimed the teen did not understand the consequences of his actions because of his affluent upbringing. He got 10 years probation, sparking outrage.
And now more outrage after video has surfaced showing Couch celebrating at a beer bash. It has been reported that it was a going-away party before he skipped town with his mother. And
then last night, the capture, Couch and his mother taken into custody in Puerto Vallarta.
We have team coverage of the extradition from the jail to the airport. We do begin with Jace at IAH, which is where we're hearing Couch is going to go first. Jace?
Yeah, we're hearing that this duo should arrive sometime tomorrow afternoon. We expect them to come right here to Terminal E. They're being brought to Houston because this is the closest port of entry. The eyes of the country will be on this airport tomorrow when the famous fugitive returns to the very country that police say he and his mom were trying to flee.
What I think we could all classify as really good police work, found out where they were staying and where they were located, and they were able to take them into custody.
Ethan and his mom, Tanya, were found hiding in this hotel in Puerto Vallarta's Old Town.
As you can imagine, Puerto Vallarta at Christmas time, tremendous amount of tourists down there, so American people were prevalent everywhere, and they wouldn't be somewhere they would stick out. They were wise to go into that kind of area.
When caught, police discovered Couch had dyed his blonde hair. Police think that Couch went on the run after this video surfaced online of him at a drinking party. Drinking booze would have violated his probation. Passengers arriving today from other countries think Couch and his mom were foolish to think they could stay on the run.
Apparently they weren't rich enough to hide good enough in Puerto Vallarta. Really? I mean, how public can you be? So they weren't that rich, and they're obviously not that smart.
When this duo arrives, they're expected to come here on a commercial airplane. We're live at Bush Airport. Jace Larson, KPRC Channel 2 News.
Our team coverage continues now with a look at how this extradition process actually is going to work.
And for that, we go to Phil Archer downtown. Phil?
Well, after going through customs at the airport, standard procedure would be to bring Couch and his mother before a state magistrate here downtown before they're taken on to Fort Worth. But once they get there, once they're in Tarrant County, the most severe punishment Ethan Couch currently faces is just 120 days in juvenile lockup.
That would be small consolation to those who are angered when Ethan Couch was sentenced to 10 years probation for a drunk driving crash that killed 4 people. Even though he is 18 years old, he was sentenced as a juvenile. That means under the law, he would only face 4 months confinement if his juvenile probation is revoked.
It is an anomaly of Texas law that if we revoke his juvenile sentence, he would stay in a juvenile facility until his 19th birthday, which is April the 11th of next year, 2016.
The Tarrant County DA is already moving to have the case transferred to a state district court where Couch could face much tougher punishment as an adult.
He is now an adult in the eyes of the state, and I would like to see him put in an adult prison and serve out the remainder of his 10-year sentence.
Channel 2's legal analyst Brian Weiss says the decision to transfer will be up to the juvenile judge overseeing the case.
He could be facing 10 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division, and because this is an aggravated offense, Ethan Couch would have to do 5 years, day for day, before he takes a peek at the parole board.
Houston law enforcement sources have been told to expect Couch and his mother to arrive Wednesday. But after talking with Ethan Couch's attorney, Weiss says it's likely to take much longer to bring him back.
It's a violation of the Mexican Constitution to extradite a juvenile.
Weiss expects prosecution of Couch's mother to move much more quickly. The Tarrant County DA already planning to charge her with hindering apprehension. That's a third-degree felony. It carries a sentence on conviction of up to 10 years in prison. Reporting live downtown, I'm Phil Archer, KPRC Channel 2 News.